Last year, it's kind of like Augusta. We gotta be asked to be a part of this. So this is my second year. Do I get like a chevron on my sleeve
Or a green jacket. Maybe we can get you a green jacket.
Okay,
We can do that.
we'll work on that.
So we got to find out a little bit about you.
Me?
Your bio. I
Yeah.
got your talking
Yeah,
notes
so-
right here, and you got your notes.
Yeah, I moved to town with my parents when I was 5. Was born in Omaha, lived in St. Louis, Belleville area in Illinois for 5 years, then moved up here to Clinton and graduated in 1997 from Clinton High with your son Kyle. Kyle and I ran together in college. Was planning on going to Iowa State. That's where my parents both went. Had an opportunity to work at a funeral home, Snell, Zornig, where I'm at now, over spring break. And within about 2 weeks of being there, I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I let my good friend Nate Livingston know, hey, by the way, you're going to have to find another roommate, which would have been your son-in-law now, Landon,
Yes.
at Iowa State. And so I worked at the funeral home for 2 years while I went to junior college, Clinton Community College, and then enrolled at Worsham College of Mortuary Science in Chicago. Spent 12 months there, and then came back in the fall of 2000 to start my internship.
Did you move to Clinton because your father's position with PV River Terminal?
PV River Terminal, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yep. We actually, if you recall, it was in the mid 80s. There was a farm crisis, and we actually lived. Our house in St. Louis or Belleville sold. We actually lived. Dad was there for 6 months. I think we were there for 3 months. We lived at the Frontier Motor Inn because it was going to be a temporary assignment. So we lived at the Frontier. I grew up on Frontier fish. And I think about this, I was 5, and you remember outside, they've added on probably 6 or 7 times, but you remember the outdoor pool that was right outside of
Yes.
in between the old one?
Right.
My parents would just let me swim there at 5, and they'd be inside in the restaurant watching me. It's mind blowing to me when I drive by there and see the old building, like, wow, he lived there for.
What a memory.
Yeah. And there was a gal, I can't think of her name. She had like a really raspy voice, which you'd call it like your, Veenstra table for 4. Do you remember her?
No.
At the Frontier?
No.
Yeah. You have to wait for the Frontier fish on Friday nights,
Yeah.
which was, wow. I'd like to go back to those days.
Did you ever go to work with your dad? Did you ever see what
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to do at PV River Terminal?
Oh, yeah.
I always wondered what he did there.
Well, he managed the river terminal there, bought and sold corn and beans. One thing that I got to do, a lot of different things, but one thing I enjoyed doing with him was in the summertime, we would do crop surveys where we would go all around to his customers out in the countryside, and he'd go into the field and grab an ear of corn, and there must be some science about whenever in probably July or August how many kernels they could project the crop, if it was going to be a bumper crop, or probably to predict the markets for the fall. And then one time we got to go, probably OSHA would fine him today. But we had to go up in the scale. Remember those
Yes.
trucks that would, and you got
Yes.
to go up in there and watch them fill barges, and so it was pretty cool.
I would think that'd be such an interesting position to have. Right there on the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Or the slough. Was it? He was in the
Beaver
Beaver
Channel.
Slough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I used to water ski back there because it was just so great to water ski.
Really?
Oh, because there was no really current it'd be like
Sure.
skiing on ice.
Sure. Yeah, that was the Beaver River Channel, Beaver River Channel, yeah.
Yeah.
Beaver River Channel, yeah.
Amazing. That's interesting. So the history of Snell Zornig Funeral Home.
Well, the funeral home's been around for almost 90 years. I think we're in the 89th year. 1936 is when it was founded by the Snell family. Mr. Old Man Snell, Bill Snell, started the funeral home where Voss Brothers used to be, was an undertaking parlor. And Bob Snell's dad, Bill, worked there. And I believe, I don't know if this is correct, but I believe the gentleman that had the funeral home died, and Mr. Snell wanted to buy the funeral home. And he said it wasn't for sale, so he said, I'm going to go 2 blocks down, and converted the house that we are in now into a funeral home. And from what I understand, things changed drastically, and that's how we became the funeral home that we are today. Of course, the Snell family had it until the late 80s, and then Mr. Zornig, who was a partner in the 70s, carried it along until he retired in 2016. So I had the opportunity to buy in when I was 24, and then when Mr. Zornig retired in 2016, then I became president and CEO. So I started out making minimum wage, washing cars, to now being the president and CEO.
So you bought in at the age of 24?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was quite a process.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Talk about that step in your life.
Well,
Were
thankfully.
you married at that time?
No, I wasn't. I was dating my wife. I think we may have been. No, we got engaged later that spring.
Okay.
But I lived up at the funeral home, so I really didn't have any obligations as far as financial obligations other than
So was it rent free?
it was. That was
Oh.
part of the. That was what part of the.
Part of your contract?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. No, it's been a great career lifestyle. I don't really find myself a funeral director, more of like a relationship director. And just building those relationships here in the community is important, and one that I really enjoy building relationships with the community.
You bring up, I think that's interesting because you really do get to know, first of all the priests, the ministers, everyone in the community in that regard, and then the families that you're dealing with. And I'm sure you've dealt with many members of families.
Well, and in between there, priests and ministers are important, families are important, but then you have the church ladies, the
Oh.
ladies that make the lunches. They're almost equally as important because they keep me well fed. Mrs. Wenzel, the First Congregational Church, my favorite dessert is a lemon sponge cake lemon bar, and when Mrs. Wenzel comes to visitation, she always brings me a plate, and so there's always like a surprise box on my desk if I'm not there, and she always makes me feel good. But yeah, so all the different, when I was at Zion, and then sadly, after you've been there for 30 years, we're into like almost the third generation of church ladies. But when I was in college, after you push the casket into the church, I'd go up to the, you had an hour at Zion, and all my girlfriends would have me get to taste all the desserts and all that. So they're important too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My wife went to Lyons Methodist, and her mother was one of those church ladies, and I know how important they are.
Yeah, and then like at Prince of Peace, I think they take 2 months, so there's different ones there every other month, or I don't know how they break it up, but they have teams, so it's kind of interesting to get to see a lot of the ladies there at the.
I would imagine the casseroles are pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge casserole guy. No.
No,
More of the dessert, lemon bar.
I was going to say more of the desserts.
If it's a lemon casserole, I'll be for it.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. We'll take a break for the weather here in just a little bit. You wanted to talk about your coworkers.
Yeah, so our staff, thankfully we don't have a lot of turnover. Dennis Lemke, who I worked with for 28 years, retired here at last summer of 2025, at the end of July. So it's kind of interesting after you work with somebody for that long. You can kind of read what they're thinking without saying anything. And the first couple weeks kind of felt like he was on vacation. It's like, oh well, and one of his duties was to pay the bills. So I kind of assumed that role, and well, he's not coming back. And we hired there was a kid. Von Dose, he worked with us in college back in 2014, went to mortuary school, left, a couple different stints all over the place, ended up at the University of Iowa where he was a hospital mortician there for a couple years. And his wife, Kate Castor, remember her, the track
Yes.
cross-country runner? I think she went to Iowa State. And he was in Ames. I don't know if they met in Ames or whatnot, but she got a job here in town. I think she works for the Women's Health Services, I think as a dental hygienist. And so Vaughn's a stay-at-home dad. So he's been picking up that on-call time that Dennis had. So it's kind of been helpful to kind of take a break, on-call wise. And Jamie and I have kind of distributed the making arrangements and, working the funerals part. So it's been helpful having him. And Jamie, she came over from Worsham in 2009, took a little break while she had kids, and then came back full time in 2015. So that's our full-time staff, and then of course Mary Rupp does our pre-needs. She's been there for 33 years and does a great job. And then we have a handful of part-time people. Dennis Derling, who is the whole reason why I got my job. He's been with us since 2007. We got Jim Proud, Fulton football coach.
Yes, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer and state champion.
Yes.
I think 1991?
In that area, right?
92?
In that area.
I think 91.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He helps us out. John Lloyd, a retired pastor from Church of the Open Door. He's been with us. Jeff Weaver, retired food service guy from the school district. He's a good dude. Helps with whatever we want to do. He's kind of like our Mr. Fix-It. He kind of helps fix when the handle on the handicap handle comes off. He fixes that. And then recently, Paul Schnack from the bank, he retired in March. And he calls me and he's like, "Hey, I got a suit. Do you need any help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come on in." So he helps us occasionally too. So between back when I started, we had two guys. I mean, they worked all the time. One guy only went fishing one week, but I mean, you could count them all the time. Well, now you have everybody's grandkids are doing football, basketball, dance recitals, and then we have to work around Paul Schnack's golfing. But with all their conflicts, we usually can find two guys to help us every time. So
Interesting.
We're pretty lucky.
So if I ever do decide to retire, I will buy a suit and I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up will be a check of the week.
Whether it's a new mattress, recliner, sectional, or lift chair, Premier Home Furnishings in Clinton has you covered. Choose from over 14 mattresses on display, from firm to pillow top, traditional to adjustable. Look over their large selection of recliners starting at $399, sectionals from plush to leather, and lift chairs starting at $799. Free delivery and setup available. Come to Premier Home Furnishings, 2001 Lincoln Way in Clinton. Phone 563-243-0332 or online at clintonpremier.com.
The ever-changing Midwest weather can be hard on your vehicle's appearance. Why not do something about it? Take it to Lundeen Auto Spa Express in Clinton. They offer a thorough hand wash and dry for only $50. Say goodbye to dirt and grime and hello to a clean and dry vehicle. Call Lundeen Auto Spa Express at 563-219-8020 to make an appointment or stop by 1721 13th Avenue South in Clinton. Find them on Facebook.
It's time now on KROS for the Storm Track 8 weather forecast, brought to you by Electronics.
Happy Friday. We are still going to be cold today with highs only in the teens, but we will be quiet. There is going to be building clouds with a little bit of a breeze with gusts as high as 25 miles per hour as we head into the afternoon. Still in store for a cold night, but we'll start to see warming temperatures into the weekend. Highs go to the 20s for Saturday. I'm Storm Track 8 meteorologist Morgan Strackbine.
Currently, we have fair skies and a temperature of 17 degrees. Winds are out of the north at 15 miles an hour. This weather report on KROS has been brought to you by Electronics.
Electronics Incorporated in Clinton is the area's largest communication and alarm systems company. Electronics offers best-in-class life safety, security, two-way radios, and communications equipment from top brands. Electronics, the company you've trusted for over 50 years, can now provide fire extinguisher sales service and inspections, plus kitchen hood inspections as well. Call 563-242-1223 or visit them online at www.electronicsinc.com for your free estimate.
It is Citizens First Bank Swish for Make-A-Wish. For every three-point basket during a River King or River Queen broadcast here on KROS, Citizens First Bank will donate $3 to the local Make-A-Wish Foundation. Follow the River Kings and Queens on KROS and listen for the Citizens First Bank Swish for Make-A-Wish. And you will know that $3 more is going to a very worthy effort. Citizens First Bank of Clinton and Comanche, member FDIC.
Swish for Make-A-Wish. We will have the River Kings tonight. They play host to Pleasant Valley. We got Ryan Veenstra in studio right now. Talk a little bit about the crematory services.
Yeah, so, one thing that I'm grateful for, that Mr. Zornig had the vision back in 1996 to put in a crematory at our location on 3rd Avenue South. Our crematory has been there since 1996. And one thing about having our own crematory, Gary, is that we control the whole process. So someone's loved one never leaves our care from the minute we go to the place of death till we hand the urn to the family. that person is in our control and in our possession the whole time, which is really important. One nice thing about having our own crematory is that, with cremation is just really final disposition. So you got burial or cremation. Cremation's been around since probably the beginning of time. So one nice thing is most families have some type of service, whether the body's present or not. But if we were able to have the body present for like the visitation at night, we can cremate overnight and then the next morning have the urn so we could go for burial. And that's a nice luxury to have. This fall, we actually rebuilt our crematory. That was a significant expense, about $60,000 to re-brick it all and retool it all. And in that period of time, we were down for about 5 or 6 days, and we were busy. And we had to use a colleague's crematory. And it's the first time that I've ever had to do that. Is basically handing off someone's loved one, and although we trust them 100%, it's still the unknowns. And my own family, my wife's grandma passed away in that period of time, and we took grandma there as well. So, and maybe that was timing, maybe that was something, I don't know, but it was more like, hey, if it's good for my family, and just like anything, if it's good for my family, it's good for yours. But I never thought I'd take for granted that we had our own crematory, which we do. So anybody can offer cremation services, but it's being able to do the cremation. We have our own crematory on 3rd Avenue South and 3rd Street.
And it's my understanding that's becoming more prevalent.
Sure. The trend, of course, is increasing. We're in the high 60s as far as cremation, so it's outnumbering our burial cases. And I think there's projections. I think we've kind of plateaued. It kind of went up drastically probably since 2017, but I think we've kind of plateaued. I think the projections it'll be is around 80%, like 20, 30 years. So I think we're at that, and there's multiple reasons why people want to be cremated from. They don't have cemetery spaces. We don't know what we're going. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't want to be buried. But one thing that one of our jobs too is to educate people on what's going on, and it's kind of interesting now that we're kind of maybe like into the second generation of people cremating, probably more than we used to. It's like, well, we have grandma. What are we going to do with grandma? And it's like, well, something has to happen to grandma. So usually everything probably ends up in the ground, so it probably all needs to be buried, unless you want, can you imagine I can't imagine having my great grandma on my mantle. She's in Jefferson and Grand Junction, where resting in peace, and that's where it should be. So that's one thing. Sometimes I think people think cremation's out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, but you still have to do something with them.
Yeah, interesting. So you got a song?
Yeah, Sailing, Christopher Cross, probably Mike Rupp, the old DJ here, and he's a pre-need guy too. We always talk about our top 5 songs, and Sailing's always been a big one of mine. I'm a big yacht rock fan. Always wanted him to come to Riverboat Days, but the board always voted it. Never pursued my ride. Is a teacher down in Comanche. Teaches at the middle school. Teaching social studies now. Started out teaching science, did a little English, now social studies. This is her first year teaching social studies. I'm lucky to have her in my life. We have 2 kids, Olivia, who's on her way right now up to Independence. She's the girls wrestling manager.
Oh, okay.
So they're in regionals tonight.
Yes.
I think they are on their way there now. So she's excited. That season's coming to an end here in the next couple weeks.
They're doing very well.
Yeah, Dylan Schneeberger does a good job. She's going to be starting her junior season in golf. She's improving every year. Pretty proud of her of that.
Yeah.
Got into the National Honor Society.
Well, that's great. As a junior?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yep. Starts her morning every morning before me at 6 at Early Bird Gym. I'm proud of her on that.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, I understand her and my wife will be prom dress shopping, so that makes me feel old. My little guy, Jack, he's in middle school, 6th grade. He's on, I think they're in Galena right now on the ski trip.
Okay.
Andy Princeton, I think, who was on FYI,
Yes.
he and I coached together. He says this is his favorite day of the year. But Jack enjoys playing sports. He predominantly loves baseball. We love going to baseball games. He takes some hitting and pitching lessons from Tyler Howe, who was an outstanding player from Northeast and had a little major league stint with the Mets.
Yeah.
He's a great coach. Just his relationship with Jack is it's awesome.
I could see that.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It's cool. Yeah.
And he gets a foul ball every time he goes to a Major League Baseball game.
Almost, yes.
Oh, the streak ended?
It did. It did last year. It did end. Yeah, it did. But he's into getting bats now, which is another thing. But while we're on baseball, my parents are downsizing. I almost forgot about this, Gary. So I found in the Clinton Giant program.
Well, we're on camera here. You can hold it up.
Yeah,
and
but,
see.
your 50 years, celebrating 50 years when you called the Clinton Giants game. That was in the
Yes.
back of a program, and I thought I'd get you a replica copy.
Gosh, my hair was a lot darker
Yeah,
back then. And
yeah.
I was, kind of had my Harry Carey glasses on at that time as well.
What's your favorite game you ever called?
Probably the no-hitter that Mark Grant threw.
Okay.
9-inning
Okay.
no-hitter. The great thing about it was when I broadcast, I like to stand up.
Sure.
So I interviewed him the next day, of course, because he threw a no-hitter. And he goes, "Why do you stand up when you broadcast?" And I go, "Why do you know I'm standing up broadcasting while you're throwing a no-hitter?"
Right, right.
Oh. Hey, we're getting to the top of the hour. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming
Gary.
in.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
No problem. It is 2 o'clock. You are in tune to KROS Clinton, Iowa, FM 105.9, AM 1340. It's time for the latest from CBS.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jeff.